Hey, Christopher, close to the chest. Hey, Golden Amethyst. Hey, Tay, thank you for moderating. Hey, Millicent. Hey, Gail, thank you for moderating. Thank you. Golden Amethyst said, y'all, thumbs up. Yeah, let's get these thumbs up on this video. Let's get this video hype. Well, thank you so much to Cyberpunk Alex Productions for this royalty free music. I really enjoyed that. Well, everybody, I'm hoping you're doing okay today. But I got to give you all the shocking news. And you know, if I said it, hey, you best better believe it's going to come into fruition unless you all are ready to turn this train around because it's about to derail. What I wanted to talk, excuse the background noise, you know what I mean? If it's really irritating y'all, I can always go to another room. But we've been getting some very hot temperatures, as I said the last time. We've been hitting almost up to 100. I mean, last week we were at 100 degrees. So, nothing has really changed too much, even though the thermostat might say, it's 80 degrees, it still feel like it's 100 to me. Okay. So this is what you hear in this feedback. Is this irritating y'all? If not, we'll proceed. Well, y'all, it's a lot of bullshit getting ready to come down the turnpike, okay? So you better watch out. If you don't want it all over you, you better watch out. Had you heard the news? Well, look it up for yourself. NASA says that you can expect for an alien mothership spaceship to show up pretty soon. Maybe perhaps around November of 2025. Yeah. An alien spaceship. Wow. At one time, they never even talked about aliens and spaceship. It was always, in the X Files, top secret information, but they're getting very open with it so that we can normalize it and make it a part of the narrative. Well, these aliens are supposed to be very violent and aggressive, according to NASA. I like to ask you all, who do you think these aliens are? Haha, what race of beings do you all think that these extraterrestrials are? Well, according to NASA, they are of African American descent. Isn't that weird? They're supposed to be African American violent extraterrestrials coming on a mothership. I want you all to just take your time to digest that right there. And while you're thinking about it, I want you all to look at that thumbnail because they've already uh, not only racially profiled it, but they have given you a description of what you should be looking for. Do anybody see what I'm getting at quite at this time yet? Hmm? Okay, well, I'm going to tell you what I'm getting at. Okay, so you know the elites, you understand? They're very nervous right now. Um, and we see what is going on right now. We know that it's extremely hot. We know that, the economy is getting ready to come to a halt. We know that food prices are skyrocketing, and the list goes on. Gasoline is overboard, and people are losing hope, and Caucasian people are getting ready to get riled up. Militias are forming all over the place. If you don't know what a militia is, these are individuals who are constantly practicing how to shoot. Hmm? Their own independent military exercises are going on as we speak. And you know how that can be. They can get kind of scared. You know what I mean? When the spaceship or the boat, is rocking back and forth, and they afraid they're gonna fall off, and they're looking for hope in sight, and they see none. They're getting angry with their government. All these different elements is a toxic soup for trouble. So, what do the elites want to do? They want everybody to be stir crazy. Y'all still don't see what I'm getting at. Nobody gets it. Well, what we know back in the day, it was all about race wars. I'm not saying nothing has changed. You understand? It's still, back and forth about the race wars because this is the way the elites need to keep it. They need us to hate each other, and they want to keep the friction off of them. So they're getting ready to orchestrate the biggest heist ever in our lifetime. So if you let everybody know that African Americans are now aliens coming off the spaceship, they're going to be very violent. Well, of course, quite naturally, these militias and these people of other races are going to be stocking up on ammunition. Long ago, they did a study, you understand, or a test in the 1950s. That was back when a lot of radio was popular because a lot of people didn't have a TV set. So, on the radio, if I'm not mistaken, y'all tell me if I'm wrong, I think it was Vincent Price that was hyping up that there were aliens that were landing and people nearly lost their minds. I don't know. You all are fairly young, so y'all may not remember. I'm not saying I remember the 50s because I wasn't in the 50s neither, but I just remember that experiment. Baby, they took to the street. Hey, Whitney, how you doing? They took to the street, and I want to read that, and y'all help me out with that comment. Help somebody break that down in layman terms. So when they took to the streets, baby, they brought bats, batons, crowbars, guns, whatever kind of weapon they can bring. They came downtown and tore that motherfucker up. So the people who did the experiment was not expecting, you understand, for people to panic like that. So you got to be very careful. And I'm being careful, but I know you all are civilized people. I know you're not going to go down there and do some crazy stuff like that just based upon what I'm talking about, you know. But I am telling you what NASA said, you know what I mean? So, I mean, everybody's talking about it. It's getting hyped and everything. You know, we ain't gonna be able to catch a break here. You know, we've been very peaceful. We've been trying to stay out of all this protesting going on. We've been warned to stay out of it, that it's not our fight, which we already know it is not our fight. We have our boots on the ground in a whole different way because that's a military term. Boots on the ground means get yourself ready for war. But we've been talking about boots on the ground from a perspective of we're going to line dance with some cowboy boots on and a hat. Hello? But the fact that we're not responding to the protesting like they want us to so that they can come out there and lock us all up, beat our ass because they got the concentration camps and everything all ready for us. The alligator Alcatrazes and detention centers all waiting for us. Hello? Alabama got one of the biggest prisons being set up right now like a goddamn complex. Goddamn, like a skyscraper, like the goddamn Liberty, Statue of Liberty. They putting that up right now, and guess who they want in there? Huh? See, so y'all supposed to be out there. This is the way the plans go. Y'all supposed to be out there cutting the food so that they can go round you up. They think you're going to go out there and shout, "We shall overcome," so that they can put you out there in the ships. Remember we talked about ships at sea? I done already seen them. They can't fool me. It's so many ships at sea, man. I'm talking about like 20-story ships on the coastline waiting on you. So they can ship you away from this place because history is repeating itself. When they shipped you, remember they shipped you over to Africa. They got the story kind of backwards. They claiming you came from Africa, but in all honesty, it was the opposite way around. They shipping you to remember when they shipped you to Liberia and all these different places over there, get rid of you and everything. Well, they planning on putting you on the ships and shipping you off again. Y'all just need to know. Now, this is not about race because, like I said, we can all get along, white and black. But we as white people and black people and Asians, brown people, Hispanics, we need to know, and Native Americans, indigenous, wherever you find yourself in this place, we need to know that they want a race war. Huh? So, we're going to be just setting up in our houses if y'all don't turn this stuff around. And the fact that the aliens are coming and they're going to look just like me and you and all of it, because they gave a description, they're going to have dreadlocks and everything, you know, and you know, y'all starting to look different to them, you understand? You got a nose, earring in each nostril. You got all of this different copper and jewelry that's scaring them and stuff like that, because all of it is spiritual warfare. You don't even know you're participating in spiritual warfare because you got copper on your wrist, you got copper around your neck, you got copper on your feet, you got copper in your hair, you got all these different things. You got all of these different supernatural tools laying around your house, all kind of crystals and everything. You understand? You're heating up the atmosphere, hot as on rock. So they got to make you look like you are the fucking terrorist that's coming from outer space, goddammit. So anytime they see an African American, or anytime anyone sees an African American, it's supposed to stir up confusion. Somebody bumps into me and then says, "Oh, that's one of those aliens that came off the mothership." I just want y'all to see that they're trying to create a false narrative. Huh? So who is the extraterrestrial? Am I the extraterrestrial that came off the mothership? Or was I born here? So now that we have all the extraterrestrials on the ground, they're African American, they're dreadlocked, they're wearing copper, they got all of this going on. We got to convince the American public that's for their own good. We must lock them all up. Let's get rid of them. Oh, police officers, you know, state troopers, sheriffs, and the military, and you name. They see us and they say, whoa, get the paddy wagons ready. They are a threat. They're going to make some old weird planet up that we came from. This is just giving them an excuse to incarcerate us. Okay, I chose Bella. How you doing? Said it was an interview. An agent said the alien looked like black men with dreadlocks 7 foot tall. I heard about that. When I so I'm not saying he wasn't telling the truth. I'm saying this is giving NASA, which is the United States government, you understand, a good story to create, you understand, and convince people that that's who we are, that we're them. You see what I mean? So get ready. I'm gonna need y'all to turn all of that around. November 2025. If you got militias believing in that, our lives can be in danger. Do y'all understand what I mean? Especially if you see this stuff. Because see, right now it's just some stuff going on around social media. But if you get to seeing this shit pop up on the national news, y'all, excuse me, we're going to have to find a way to protect ourselves. Do you see what I mean? I can see, and the first thing they're going to say is they're all military men. So now our young men are in jeopardy. So, this is a way to get, hey Raquel, how you doing? Thank you for moderating. This is a way to convince, listen to this, y'all. This is a way to get the population under control. Now, you got dreadlocks and you don't want anybody to think you're an alien. So the first thing you're going to do, especially as an African American male, as they call you, you're going to want to shave off your dreadlocks. See? They know they cannot pass a law and say that it's against the law to wear dreadlocks. So they have to create a reason to pass a law. You understand? So that you will stop wearing your dreadlocks. And the word says dread. It has dread for a reason. Dread means I fear this individual. I dread this individual. So it's seen as something negative. But when they, or if they, decide to talk about this on the national news, if they say, hey, look, anybody that's wearing dreadlocks is a threat to the United States security, you're going to have to be cutting your hair off. You're going to have to cut your hair off. And all they got to say, carper, if you see anybody with carper, detain them. What you going to do? You're going to take your carper off. Anybody dressing different, looking oddly, they must what? Conform. This is a way to get you to conform. So I wanted you all to know that right there. Okay, now listen to this. Here's okay, so that's one of my prophecies, you know what I mean? So if you hear it out there, know you heard it here first. I was the first one to tell you that they're going to use this as a way to, this is going to be coercion to get you to conform, to get you to go with the get along. You see what I mean? It's going to convert you more closer to Christianity, to religion. Because you're too free right now. And the more freedom you have, guess what? The more dangerous it is for them. Because now you're working with unseen forces. You understand? You know, just like when, you know what I mean. You getting to messing with your voodoo, and they already know what happened to them when they was going down there messing with Haiti. Haiti was able to run them all off and everything, and Haiti's still standing their ground to the day. It's still a black country here in the Western Hemisphere. It's still that, and it's always gonna be that. But they know that if you all start tapping into it, you understand, you're gonna run their asses away from here too, Caesar. So that's how come, you know, when they see Haitians coming into, you know, everybody else can come. Now, don't get me wrong, you know, you can come from Venezuela, you can come from Mexico, you can come from these different places. But when they find out you are Haitian and you're coming here, all of a sudden they have a huge problem with it, you know. And I'm not judging either way or whatever. You understand? I'm just saying, why you ain't got a problem with the rest of them when they showing up? You know what I mean? You know, if you don't want one to come in, don't let none of them come in. Is the way I see it. But yeah, they like, we're not finna be picking up and packing up, going, you know, up there to Europe or whatever. We planning on staying here. So y'all need to know that's what's going on. Look, get ready for the greatest reset ever. A reset is coming. Oh, now let's talk about this reset. Now the reset, it's not only just global. You understand? But we're gonna start down here in the little places. Let's start with social media. There's gonna be a reset in social media, believe it or not. Now, we're sitting down, we're just talking about all this greatness of spirituality and liberating ourselves, and they're gonna wipe all these channels off. Did y'all hear me? Get what you can. All these different channels like mine, they're gonna wipe them clean. All of this hard work that we're just putting into exhausting into our channels, because number one, we love it. Number two, you all love it. You need it. We're all coming together and contributing and what have you. YouTube's gonna wipe all of this and start off with a clean slate. People who are investing their life force into YouTube and into TikTok, they're going to wipe TikTok out. People were like, oh, they said that before. They ain't going to do nothing. They said that the last time. Nah, they didn't do anything. Oh, they're going to do it this time. They're no longer going to allow you access to global communities. We've already talked about this, that they're creating a U.S. friendly version of TikTok, and they call it M or M2 or whatever they're going to name it. I don't know what it's going to name it. I think it's going to be next month that they're going to shut this TikTok down. You will no longer be able to access this TikTok. So people who are building up their TikTok pages and stuff like that, you got wonderful communities, you got lots of followers, you're making good ass money. You better hope you can transfer this to M too. Because if you can't transfer it, you're going to lose all of your content, all of your followers, all of your money. Name of the game. That's what they want to do. It may be like that on Facebook too, and Snapchat and all these other different places, Rumble, all of them are going to go through this great reset. This great reset should be fully underway by 2027. 2027 gonna be rough, y'all. It's gonna be real hard. It's gonna be like going back into the dark ages, meaning no one will have any freedom of speech, say what you want on the internet. Now, this is what I see, and this is somewhat what I've heard. For all of you all who have YouTube channels, TikTok pages, your content creators, and it may also affect people who just come to enjoy or whatever, just to watch. You're going to have an ID, driver's license, passport of some kind, in order to be able to own, rent, whatever you want, a social media platform. Did y'all hear me? So for people who are not comfortable with having their ID out there like that, you're not gonna have a page. You're gonna shut it down. That's coming, y'all. That's either now or 2026. In order to have a YouTube functioning channel of your own, they want access to your ID. So for people who don't want to give their ID out, you're not gonna find those channels. They're gonna be gone. And y'all know most people, they ain't gonna want. They don't want them to know about that. You know what I mean? And you see, and what they're gonna be doing, they're gonna be checking for all kind of things like warrants and stuff like that. See if you got warrants for your. I seen it and I heard it, y'all. I'm not lying. So if you know you want it, and they looking for you, they're gonna be able to find you very easy. Now, you on your ID, you got to have your true address. They're gonna mail you information to your address, so you can't use no PO boxes. They want to see if your address is real on your license. Now, if you give them any kind of old address and they mail something to you and bam, you ain't there, you can't have a YouTube channel. So I want you all to marinate on that. Now, it's a chance that, it's just going to be how it is. They're gonna erase all of this stuff on YouTube. All this stuff is going to be gone. Did y'all hear me? All of these here individual content creators. I'm not talking about all this other stuff, documentary channels and all of that. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about just ordinary individuals like myself. You understand what I mean? I'm going to have to comply. And I'm going to realize that all these videos I done did since 2008, they going to be gone. I got to start from scratch once they, do that. So like you start you a new channel, you say I want to be a content creator. They're going to you're going to have to apply. They're going to send you paperwork. You got to upload your ID when you they're going to send you digital paperwork. You're going to upload your ID. They're going to send you something. You may have to fill it out, send it back in there or to some extent so they can verify if that's your true address. And y'all know that why they want to do that. They want to do that. So just in case you get riled up, you understand? They're going to get you to act right. You get riled up, you get talking all this shit. You understand? Like I'm cussing and everything. And you talk about this conspiracy stuff they don't want you talking about. Police might be knocking at your goddamn door. And you better not be wanted. So somebody looking for your ass. It's best you don't have no YouTube channel. You don't need no YouTube channel. You don't need no Facebook. You don't need nothing. They finna get our asses round up and under control. It's going to be a lot of fear 2027, baby. You're going to be living in a different world. You ain't going to be able to sit down and say what you used to say and get away with all this shit like you've been getting away with. You're going to be disciplined. They finna get ready to discipline some asses. So I had wanted to let you all know that right there too. Once again, your president said, your regime has said that food is not a human right. Hello? I want to know how many of you all took my advice the last video which I got to do it too. But I got so many mason jars. I got to go out there and get some more. How many of y'all got your mason jars ready? Press one if you got them ready now, cause I done already told you now. Like I kept telling folks about that. I said, hey, extreme cold coming, huh? How many of you ready? Now listen to this. Okay, so cause I don't want to talk, and everything I talk about is on deaf ears. But for people who are just coming on in, get your mason jars ready. If you don't know what a mason jar is, because it's a lot of young folks don't know. You got your millennials and stuff. They don't know what's going on when you say that word. And the ones under there, I don't forget what they call them, Generation Z's. They might not know. A mason jar is what uh, you use to preserve fruits and vegetables. You might see jars with soup in them or whatever. Okay, those are mason jars. You can go and get those out of Walmart. They got a bunch of them right now because people now are canning. It's harvest time. It is harvest time. People are picking just about the last of what's in the garden, and they're going ahead and they're storing them in jars. Now, I said, canning is something very serious. It ain't nothing that you just pick up and just think overnight you're going to be able to do it. It's trial, it's error, and it's very important that you know what you're doing because we already talk about botulism and botulism was called ptomaine poison. A lot of folks died a long time ago, and people still pass away from eating food that has not been properly, you understand, stored away in these jars. And botulism grows, and it could do some serious damage if you do make it. You know what I mean? So, but for you all who do not know how to do anything like that, we talked about storing dried products. This is like your cereals, um, also freeze drying food. You say Luigi, okay? But now when you freeze dry, we gotta put up food. Let me talk about this. Then I'm gonna bag myself back up. Let's talk about the blackouts. So freeze dries might be good, but I mean this freeze dried food. We need to make sure it does not rely on freezers. Nothing we store should be relying on any kind of electricity unless you plan on using solar power to run your freezers and your refrigerators or what have you. You know what I mean? So, the best thing to do is to store food that does not need any type of equipment. You understand? And we talked about some of the things that you can put away, like cereal. Okay? Remember, we talked about the little oxygen pads. Buy your oxygen pads because you want to keep oxygen out because what oxygen does when it's inside of it, it tends to age it real fast, make it stale or what have you. So you want an oxygen free environment, and you want to keep everything in a cool, dark place. Where the temperatures are regulated. You don't want it in a place where it's too hot, extremely too hot, or extremely too cold. You see. And you want to, I heard of a root cellar for the first time in my life. Y'all ever heard of a root cellar? And you could create your root cellar if you want to. A root cellar is I'm random, y'all. I'm skipping all over the place because I'm trying to cover everything because I want y'all to go on this journey with me so we can start storing and putting things away for these tumultuous times to come, if it's in my lifetime, you understand, or your lifetime. Um, your president has already said expect blackouts. So you're going to be not only having pockets of blackouts, because we have pockets of blackouts, but you're going to have long-term blackouts in the United States of America. Did y'all hear me? So I'm suggesting that you get you a generator, perhaps a solar generator if you can. Now, I have gas generators, but your gas generators depend on gas, so we don't know if we're going to have gas shortages to go along with it. You see what I mean? I know Louis Farrakhan had everybody to go a day without electricity or what have you, and then a day with it, and a day without, day with it. So people can be ready and be prepared just in case that time come. It won't visit you like a thief in the night. You'll have an idea because you got other countries like in Africa and different other countries and stuff that experience occasional blackouts, and that may just be us as they need more electricity to run these weather machines that are keeping it cool. It was unusually cool a few days ago here in August, like where they said it was record breaking. You know what I mean? So we know that it's the work of those wind towers and transmission lines that's feeding these massive weather machines. How about that? So, what you think gonna get priority as they continue to put these transmission lines up in front of our homes? Now you know that's desperate, and it requires more and more electricity demands to condition our weather. Then somebody's gonna come up lacking, so it's gonna be the residents that's gonna elect this electricity. So we may just be coming into an era where we'll have like electricity perhaps in the daytime, no electricity at night, or intervals of blackouts. But there's going to be, and I hate to put a place on it, because when I put a place on it, I'm always off. I be knowing it's coming, just like I told y'all. I said there was going to be a great flood, and I said North Dakota, South Dakota. The great flood came to North Carolina instead, so I had it. So that's why I don't really want. But I'm pushing on uh, uh, the northern portion of the United States. They're getting ready to have one of the greatest blackouts ever. Woo! Lord. People gonna be wailing in the street. We got to get ready for this. So, and it's gonna force people to have to go into cooling centers, and we're vulnerable when we are pulled out of our homes. And this is kind of, I think, just facing the fact you can easily wind up in a detention center looking for help is a very dangerous thing. You see what I mean? That's what alarms me the most, y'all. Can we get these thumbs up? We got 21 in here, but only 11 people. Can we get this going? Can we get this going? I say take your chances at the house, but they could be dangerous because the extreme. I don't know exactly. I know it's coming soon, but I can't put my finger directly on the date. But I just know staying in the house when it's extremely hot is very dangerous, as well as extremely cold is very dangerous. But when they hit us, they're going to hit us at extreme temperatures that are going to be unbearable. Once again, forcing you to be in a position to submit and surrender yourself to wherever you can go to get yourself some relief. You know what I mean? Especially with food. Y'all, I'm just about tired. I cannot go out and eat, man. Every time I go out and eat, it's just like a gamble. I get gypped. I'm spending onward to $20 for a basic snack meal to eat out. It's crazy. It's unbelievable. Until the point, I'm almost like saying, I at least want to be able to have a sample of your food before I even try it. I cannot keep on risking big dollars with you all, and you all are not giving me your best. I mean, now a lot of people might, you crying over $20, I sure am. I come from an era where I thought $10 was a mess. Now we talking about $20 and you ain't bringing nothing on the plate. One whole catfish full of crust and no meat in the inside, a handful of fries, 2 hush puppies, and a little spoonful of coleslaw. Where we going with this? Get ready. You're going to see more restaurants, more mom and pops go out of business. They're not going to be able to buy food. They're not going to be able to buy food and give you food at a reasonable price. The prices are going to be astronomical, and so they're going to have to go ahead and go on out of business. So that's why let's go back to, what I was talking about the jars. That's why I think the jars are better. You can get dried things like ramen noodles. Do not leave them in the plastic because if it becomes perishable. It has an expiration date on them, but when they go inside of a jar, they don't have an expiration date on them. So you can go ahead and just start dropping ramen noodles in mason jars. You can start dropping oatmeal, dried oats, grits. You see what I mean? Rice. You see what I'm getting at? All these things need to be stored. Water. You're gonna need water. You know, I suggest in order to have water, you should you know what you got to do to get water. I believe in like these water purifications, like they give you like a little cheesecloth, and then you pour and you strain the water, and you strain the water till it's clear, so you can have water that's brown. You say, for instance, you go and get you some water at a lake, okay? And then you pour the water in the cheesecloth and pour until it finally comes out clear. And once it comes out clear, then you boil the water. And once you boil the water, you can drink it. So just storing up a bunch of water in bottles is not going to be the key. It's about long-term sustainability that we're looking at. And matter of fact, I think they got some of these Yeti thermos, that do that for you and stuff like that. They're very expensive, but they do that for you. So you want to be looking into that. Um, be aware of, there will be military that is going to be guarding all of your riverways and lakes and streams, because you're going to have just people just desperate. People are going to be desperately searching for water. You know what I mean? Um, so these are some of the things that anything you could think of that's dried that can go inside of a jar. Just use your imagination. Go ahead and start getting them. I don't care if you live in an apartment. Just go ahead on and start putting that stuff on the beds and cabinets, wherever you could just find. Just get you a bunch of these stackable storage cases and just start stacking them up in there. You know what I mean? Do what you possibly can. Because by the year 2027, a lot of us won't be able to afford to even buy groceries the way they got these things going. Beware of the meat, for people who are big time beef eaters. Beware of the fact that, we talked about that. Press one if y'all remember what I told you all, that they're selling us and stuff like that. When you eat your mystery burgers and stuff like that. Anybody remember what I talked about? Okay, hey, ancient soul. Yes, yes, we do. We do need to be stocking up on our dried herbs. Some of the best dried herbs to be stocking up on, you know, well, first of all, salt is not an herb, but I do recommend that you have salt put away. You cannot survive without salt. What they used to do back in the day, there were trucks that would come and deliver sea salt. There were companies and stuff like that Daddy told me, said they had that type of those type of companies. You know what I mean? They would come and sell little blocks of salt and stuff like that for your family, for your cows and your horses, because they like to lick salt blocks and stuff like that. And so we don't live too close to an ocean. Once again, they're gonna be guarding all of your waterways. You know what I mean? So it may be difficult to get over to the ocean, because they're gonna have the National Guard watching over the water, because their end game is to get rid of as many of us as they possibly can. But this is why I'm recommending that we go ahead on, and I'm on this journey with y'all too, because I don't have much of nothing myself. So we're gonna do this together. So get jars and jars and jars and jars and jars and jars and jars of salt. Now, when you put salt down in jars, they get rock hard. We don't care because we can get anything to go in there and pick that salt out of there. You know, you cannot live without salt, y'all. You just can't live without salt. Now we don't. Now if you want to stack up some refined sugar, once again, it gets like a block too when it goes in a jar. You can, but that sugar is not as necessary as that salt because you can find sugar in some of these dry foods we talking about. You don't need a whole lot of refined sugar. You don't need that, but that's what you're gonna have to do. So if you want to know, just in case you are by an ocean or something, times get real bad. You're blessed to be able to get to an ocean. You can get jars and jars of salt water. I saw a girl the other day how she did it. She boiled and boiled and boiled the ocean water until it turned itself into like you could just see it was just salt, cakes of salt, and then the water just evaporated. And what did she have? She had sea salt. She let it dry it out real good, and you can do that and then start putting it away in your jars. Unless you can go somewhere and find a salt mine. I think we got a salt mine in Louisiana, but just don't bank on being able to just go to the salt mine and get you no salt. Unless you know somebody who can get you some. Cars, gasoline cars are getting ready to go down. Already, California has passed a law. And the law is, they don't want no gasoline RVs there. They're tired of the homeless populations coming over there, parking on the side of the road, and these big gasoline recreational vehicles. So they're getting ready to ban that. You want to be able to even ride through there with any of that. You see where we're going. Also, California I talked about this by 2030, look it up. You are not going to be able to operate gasoline cars in the state of California, 2030. For people who say they're going to do it anyways, just be prepared to not find any service stations to fuel up because they're going to get rid of those. They're really pushing their electric cars. So get on the bandwagon. If you don't want an electric car, get on the bandwagon to purchase. Let's get on these bikes. Let's get these bikes. You want to ride a bike all the way from Georgia all the way to California? People are doing it. Get yourselves ready. So we're getting ready to come into a whole new, well, it's called a reset. Everything, once consciousness reaches a all-time level of whatever they consider to be, you understand, over the range of intelligence, they reset everything. I like that. Record as a Dr. Davis, can you do your teaching classes showing us how to can? Since you asked that, I definitely will. I just need people who want to express an interest. Nobody, I don't know who I remember, but I was in there getting down. Even got to the point I had got a dehydrator. That's another thing I'd like for you all to invest in, a dehydrator, because that's going to be wonderful to have. You can go in the veggie aisle and you can, in the produce aisle, and you can get the vegetables in there. You can dehydrate potatoes, and it's fun. It is a lot of fun to take those potatoes and cut those potatoes up, put you some sea salt on it and let them dry. And then when they get good and dry, you start putting them in your jars with your little oxygen tab, and you're going to feel good. And the sky is the limit, because you can put you some dried parsley on them. You can put you some dried this, some dried that, what have you. And when that day come, all you got to do is soak it in water. You got not just soak it in water, but you can put them in boiled water. You know what I mean? And that's something to eat. Your corn. When corn dries, it's a little bit, well, you can still have dry corn, if you dehydrate that corn, but if you let that corn dry on a cob, whatever, then that's good for nothing but popcorn. So it's a different. If you let your corn dry, say for instance on a cob, and it's good for popcorn, this is when you go to your grist mill, or if you really good with it, you can grind it down yourself. The finer you, well, you make grits out of it. I don't know if y'all ever heard of grits. I know y'all southerners do. But you can have grits. You can, if you got white corn, you got what? White grits. If you got yellow corn, you got yellow grits. If you grind it even finer, guess what you got? You got cornmeal. This is what they did in the day. You stored so much corn, so much corn, so much corn. Now for the winter, what you got? You got porridge. Grits ain't nothing but porridge. You understand what I mean? And with cornmeal, if you add yourself a little bit of milk, a little bit of water if you want to, you got porridge. And during the Great Depression, when they just really didn't have anything, I mean, that saved a lot of lives, just to have like sacks, because they put them in cloth sacks. And what they really did is, though, you ever drove off in the countryside and you see those big, huge, like, they look like cans, storage cans that stand up on legs, like towers. You understand? Those things were full of, like, they were really full of, like meal, corn, syrup, or whatever. They stored it up real high to keep the vermins from getting into it, and the weevils. So, it's a lot we got to go over when we learn how to can. So, and I have a nonprofit organization. And once again, I mean, it'd be something wonderful for us to have, for, to share information with people, so y'all can just continue to pass it down from one person to the next person to the next person. But that's what we're going to get really deep into it, because, we need to learn how to make quilts. How many people want to learn how to make quilts? Who want to learn to quilt? Have your own special quilts. Not only quilts keep you nice and cozy and warm in the wintertime, but quilts can be healing. A long time ago, they made healing quilts. I don't know if y'all knew it or not. They made quilts for babies to sustain their lives, because here in Alabama, babies were dying very, very young. It was something if your baby lived to be 1 year old, because, it was really, really rough, back in the days. Women were having babies prematurely, and we didn't have incubators or what have you. You know, that's when they tied the little dime. They would drill a hole in a dime and then put a red string around there and put that around the baby's ankle to make sure that child made it to 12 months and everything. But yeah, so it's a lot. We're going back. We're going back to when they had to rely on superstition, the fear of. That's what we're going back to. We're going back to unity, where if you want to survive, you better be good with your neighbor. They shut me down, y'all. They shut me down. There we go. Now they playing games. Yep. They playing games with them now, y'all. I experienced 2 live stream interruptions. It seems like they're triggered, and it ain't necessarily got to be YouTube. It could just be entities in general. You know what I mean? A lot of people think, oh, the government is watching me. The government is not necessarily watching you. You understand? It could be just, just regular people watching you. Regular people who want to hack you. They got the skills to hack you. Regular people that can come out and do you harm. You see? Because you're scaring them. So everything ain't the government. Everything ain't YouTube. Hello? But it seems to be, once again, they're triggered about me talking about sustainability. If you are looking for land, be looking for somebody that you can trust, and y'all come together and try to get land together. That's going to be one of your best investments. You want land. You want the bug out. You want the woods. You want the place where you can be concealed. Because when they get ready to, you want to learn to come off the grid. You want off grid living. See where I'm at, I can do that. I can do off grid living because I got a whole acre here, which it ain't much. You know what I mean? It's unrestricted. So if I decide I want to build a Statue of Liberty in my backyard or whatever tomorrow, now they might get mad about it, but it's not like a HOA. Do not buy HOAs. Press one if you know what a HOA is. Okay, Christopher knows. Okay, Gail knows. Ancient Soul knows. That's the waste of money. Where we're getting ready to go, you don't need to be in places like that. Because not only is it, there's no freedom, you can't necessarily, you know what I mean? You can't paint your house the color you want. You got to put a top on when they tell you to. A lot of black people are losing their homes in HOAs, believe it or not. It's a lot of deed theft going on right now. People are desperate. They're stealing deeds. HOAs are pricing black folks out, claiming that they not pricing them out, but are stealing their homes by saying they didn't pay fees or what have you, or oh, your door is not painted the right beige. They could be very tit for tat with you, and you can lose. Don't go in those places. If you don't have the funds, like I got an aging roof right now, and my roof needs doing over again. Okay, if I was in an HOA, they'll put me out by now because my roof is aging. It's time for a paint job. They'll put me out because they'll be like, your house need paint now. So a good top on a house is now running $15,000 on a little small basic house. Painting this house, they want 10,000, 25,000 for a paint job, and for a top. Who's got that kind of money? So what you want to do is you want to try to find you a house with a substantial amount of land and use those houses are unrestricted. And if you don't know what unrestricted means just what it says. No one can restrict you from painting your house the way you want to paint it. You don't have to go to the city and build whatever you want to build on your house. You might want to build you another room on. You might not want to have to be dealing with, going down to the city to get a permit, dealing with all these different codes. You might want a jack leg to put it on there. I don't know. I don't know what you want. You know what I mean? So this is what you want to be looking for. And there's a lot of unrestricted land out there. Damn the fact they say you don't have a roadway, a right of way or whatever to your house. Walk on your goddamn feet to get there. Because see, later on you can, do your thing, have somebody to come out to cut the trees down, build your little road and stuff like that so you can get there. But shit, get on your feet and get out there and walk. You need that. And if you can get land with a stream of water or even a lake or something like that, more than likely you might find one with a stream in the back of it. Some of them with ponds and stuff like that, that's what you really want. So when the shit hit the fan, you got access to your own water. You see what I mean? So Christopher say Fannie Mae Houses is a website for foreclosed homes in your area. That's how I got my house. My house is a Freddie Mac. This is a Freddie Mac, and the Temple was a Fannie Mae. I always get foreclosed house. A lot of people don't. And foreclosed houses, you can easily get them. They'll come down drastically. They're very negotiable. They'll come down on the prices for you and everything. You can get it for a little. This house I'm in now didn't cost but like $20,000. You know what I mean? So if you could find you a $20,000 house, don't let nobody tell you you can't get your hands on no money. If you believe in this work and you got your supernatural tools, you can get a house, you can get land, you can get whatever you want. Don't let nobody tell you. You might have to do a whole lot of work on it, but it's worth it. You might find it. I found a house. I don't forget where it was in Alabama, not too far from me, and it had a beautiful look. I guess it was a pond or it was a creek or something like that. I think it was a creek in the back, fresh water. The house was just in shambles. I'm like, damn. But windows broke out of it and whatever. But I'm like, shit, I get it. If I needed that house, I'll get it just for the creek. Just for the creek, y'all. Y'all just don't know how one. If you got creek access, oh my goodness, you can get back there. Creek water. It when I get in the creek, cause we got a creek um, down there in Prattville. And it runs into an artesian well, and we got an artesian well down there too. All the free water you want. When you get in that creek water, you come out, your skin be so smooth. It's so smooth. You could collect like little pebbles. Some I had found a turquoise in there one time. You could find all type of stones and stuff, precious stones and stuff like that in it. So that's what you want to do. And some of the cheapest land you can get is in Mississippi and Alabama right now in the United States right now. I think it's some cheap land in places like Texas and out that way, but it's just like desolated. It's no greenery, no water, no nothing, And I don't know about y'all, but I wouldn't want nothing like that. I don't want tumbleweed all over the place, and I got to go and get a water storage container to collect water and all of that. I don't want that. But that's another good form of off the grid living, because I did see one out there in California that had all of that. It had the storage thing for the water. It was just like out sandy country in the middle of nowhere by itself. I said, now that's gonna be some good ass off the grid living. They had it where they had the little solar panels up to generate electricity. There's a lot of that around here. Start looking. That's for the people who are interested. Now, some people like, oh, I need my city living, and this is the way, because I got to get to the doctor's office, or they need that city convenience and stuff like that. That's understandable. But I'm just telling people who are considering it. Like a lot of people want little that little star ID so they can and their passport so they can get up and flap out of here or whatever. But for the ones of you all who stand in your ground, you got your boots on the ground, like myself personally. I think your next alternative to just moving out of the country is to move off grid. I think that's what you should be doing. Just get off grid. Because I told y'all years and years and years ago, y'all try to get up out of those HOAs and those cul-de-sacs and estates or estates. Get up out of them, because then that's where they're going to target. They're going to be hitting the electricity in those little areas. Bam, cutting your lights off. They're going to be doing experiments. They're going to see how you react so they can have some insight, you understand, how they're going to deal with you when roundup time comes. Roundup time comes. Angel Soul Cat says California is going under. I was in Palm Springs. Glad I got out. Yeah. Well, they ready to put their smart cities up in there, man. They ready. They so irritated right now. They done tried everything. They done tried the big C to get rid of you. You're still here. They done tried the big N. Norro. Norro. You put the rest on. They done tried that. That did not work. And And try everything. You still hear they say, oh, what is it going to pay? We done tried this, we done tried that, we just had our wits end, you know. They done tried that flood, oh, water coming through from the ground, that didn't work. Fire, that didn't work. You see what I mean? You know what I mean? So they planning on getting their little, look what they call them, bubble cities, the bubble people. That's what they gonna call you, the bubble people. You understand? They planning on having that ready pretty soon, and everything outside of the bubble gonna perish. Cause you think they gonna keep on with this electricity? Them transmission lines is for them bubble cities. Them transmission lines are not for us. Huh? Huh? They got to feed that electricity into those bubble cities, okay, so they can keep them at what? A stable temperature. And they know what that stable temperature is. It may be what? 30 degrees. I thought about it. I said, it globally, it is really warming up everywhere. I wonder, is it warming up on Mount Everest? Because I think they said Mount Everest is colder than the Arctic right now. Gail said, Mother, did you see where they said that the blue whales have gone silent? Oh, I hadn't heard about that. Tell me more about it. I did see where they're beaching, like coming up on the beach and stuff, trying to come up out the water. They said quite a bit of sea life is coming onto the man. I still hadn't made it to the ocean, or the ocean. I had to get to the ocean, and this ain't the good time to go to the ocean now because jellyfish is all in the water. I remember when I'm just everywhere. I'm gonna come back there. I remember I went to the ocean in August of last year, and they was telling me be careful. The jellyfishes are out. You wanna get stung, what have you? I kid y'all not. I went in that ocean and all the jellyfish stayed away from me. It was funny because the spot that I was sitting in, as soon as I got up and got ready to leave, the jellyfish got in that little spot. Jellyfish do not get nowhere near me. Now, I ain't going to keep bragging, and then all of a sudden, I don't going to get stung by no box jellyfish. I heard them things are really, really, really dangerous. hmm But yeah, a lot of a lot of what's going on in the sea is what I told y'all they're doing. They're working with that sodium hydroxide to cool it off, and when they put it in the atmosphere, the sodium hydroxide in the atmosphere, they say the hydroxide turns to hydrogen and cools it, and then the sodium goes out into the ocean. And I think they say that it's causing some metabolic issues, turning it into, because it's mixing with something in the ocean, and it's turning up as ammonia. So it's a high ammonia content in the ocean. Now, I try to describe the best I can from a chemical perspective, but at any rate, the oceans are full of and y'all know what that is, ammonia, because it'll take your hair out and all of that. No one wants to swim in no ammonia. Hey, Millicent, how you doing? Once again. Okay. Gail said, I didn't read all the way into it, but from what I gathered, the experts can't even figure it out. The whales are trying to tell us something. Gail, I do believe what's going on. A lot of, well, once they reach the sky, they become spacecraft. What they call them when they're in the ocean, I don't know. But they did say that there are a lot of crafts coming up from deep below the ocean floors and the sea. I do believe some of that is causing disturbances with communication with the whales, because the whales do rely on sonar activity to communicate with each other, to navigate the seas, the ocean floor, the ocean, because they go down and they come back up. A lot of people don't know that whales have lungs. They breathe like us, so they can go down there for so long, and then they got to come up and they blow that water off so that they can breathe, because they are mammals. You know what I mean? Whales are mammals, and so by the fact that you got some volcanic activity, people don't realize when those volcanoes be going off under the sea, it is because there's something under there that's coming up, like crafts, different kind of crafts and stuff like that. And I know what y'all saying. Who could handle that much heat? Well, these are some special vehicles and stuff that are unexplainable, that can go in that amount. Understand? Of hell, and come out like it's nothing. Um, and it's going in the volcanoes that's up above, that's on land. You know what I mean? They have been spotting crafts coming out of the. So you're gonna have a lot of volcanic activity going on. Nothing is gonna be stable. We've already talked about the animals and stuff that are fleeing Yellowstone. I'm not sure. Do y'all know they return back to Yellowstone? The and other varieties of animals have been fleeing, because they say it's a chance that Yellowstone is trying to wake up. Mm? And we talked about how dangerous that is. We don't want to be messing with Yellowstone. Yellowstone actually, they say, formed this little piece of land, and if it was to go off, I think if I'm not mistaken, didn't they say that's one of the biggest volcanoes in the world? I might be wrong. So it's gonna be. Oh, I'm telling you, it's gonna. Thank you so much, Gail, for slaying that troll. Trolls, don't come in here and try to say anything in here. Don't y'all know my moderators ain't finna have none of that. They ain't finna have that. You're just wasting your breath. And if you want me to see it, I don't even see it, because they take care of the job so fast. With round, you don't even get a chance to meet. I know you want to get my undivided attention, but it's not going to happen. So come in here acting like you got some sense. We getting ready for the jump off. Ain't you getting ready? Get ready. You better. You ain't got no God. You better go and find you one right now. Okay, y'all. I'm here in the chat. Okay, somebody talked about the herbs. They said get your herbs ready, y'all. So we can't leave those out. There are a lot of herbs and stuff that we can't necessarily grow. It's been so hard to try to grow anything. You know what your favorite herbs are. You can go ahead on and get your jars and start storing them up now. For instance, you got your peppermints, you got your spearmints, you got your parsleys, you got your, y'all come on, add to it. You got your rosemaries, you got your lavenders, you have all of those things. Your sage, your black pepper. Put all of those up in your jars, your all spices. Have those, because we still got to be witching in the kitchen. Um, we talked about the blackouts. Learn how to make candles. You have to learn how to make candles, or start storing your candles. As many candles as you possibly can. Start getting your candles, y'all. I used to go in the thrift store and find so many candles. Now you can't find none. People either holding on to it, or the thrift store, people at the thrift store holding them for themselves when they come through. But you're going to need candles, unless you don't mind sitting in the dark. For people who have hurricane lamps, oil lamps, start putting your oil up. I don't know if you want to deal with kerosene or just lamp oil. You want to try to put up some lamp oil. At least have enough lamp oil just in case your lights is off for a week or two. you'll have enough lamp oil. And I got to do what I'm telling y'all to do myself. And I do got two oil lamps. So if you don't have oil lamps, go ahead and get you some oil lamps. You're gonna be so happy. You're gonna be like, oh, I'm so glad I did this. And get you bottles and bottles and bottles. If you can't get you a generator, because I'm telling you, one blackout, they can have 5 generators left. Them generators might not be worth no more than $500. They're gonna try to charge you whatever they want to. They're gonna price gouge. They might want $5,000 for a $500 generator. Hey, Sydney. Sydney says that they have plenty of teas. Ancient Soul, I agree with you, Ancient Soul. Walnut Hole, you're right. See, we're talking about all of this stuff like food and water. What about your antibiotics? See what I mean? Now, I don't know about y'all, but I'm stacking up on my antibiotics right now. Putting up everything I can name, honey. I got it all. Y'all probably don't even know about all these antibiotics. I know about it. And they have come now. Now, what they've done used to be able to, the preppers were getting fish biotics. Well, the government shut that down. So you can't get fish biotics no more. They wrote them all a letter. You can read the letter online and told them that they saying that they can cure, and it's against the law. Talking about you can cure this, you can cure that. So what they did is they stopped those people from having fish biotics. And the reason why they really did it because they don't want humans to go and get them fish biotics because really those fish biotics are human biotics. Honestly, it's the same thing you get at the doctor's office. So they said, hell no, you're gonna put us out of business. Hospitals ain't gonna be making no money because they want you to go in there. You go in there, say for instance, you got like right now, I got sinus issues right now. As y'all can tell, my nose is stopped up, my voice is a little trembly or what have you. They're gonna want me to go to the doctor. I go in there and everything. They're gonna want what? They want a copay. Insurance don't mean nothing. We want a copay. We want $70. See, see. Well, as you know, in the past, okay, they treat my sinus infections and stuff with augmentin. And so let me get me some fish biotic augmentin. Oh hell no, you ain't. They stopped that. But now there are some companies that they're specifically for preppers. So say for instance, the grid goes down. You got a little one that come down with a sinus infection or something, God forbid, because you don't want that. Right now, my nose at nighttime, I barely able to breathe out my nose and everything. So, you ain't no doctor's offices because they ain't got no electricity, like my daddy would say. Ain't no hospitals because they all down. Well, what you gonna do? You gonna go up in there in that cabinet that you got, that off the grid cabinet, and you gonna get them some augmentin out of that. So y'all better start stacking that up too. I know all the antibiotics you need. You need augmentin for your sinuses. You need amoxicillin when you get a tooth abscess. See, ain't nobody think about all that. What if you get a tooth abscess? But now some people rather do it the natural way. They do have natural herbs that would take care of you. Like that, what they were talking about, the walnut hull is good for like if you wind up with some worms or something like that. You know what I mean? You get the worms or whatever, you're going to need that. Or get you some castor oil to clean your body out. And for us to believe that we don't have no worms in us and stuff, we all need to be wormed. Dogs have to be wormed. We need to be wormed. They want us to believe that we can't get the worms. You've been eating sushi and half raw food. You eat pork and stuff like that. You're going to need some castor oil. My mama called it castor oil. Some people call it castor oil. And they would give it to little kids, especially when they out of school in the summertime. That's when they call themselves worming you to get the worms out the little children's stomach. Especially little children who eat a lot of candy. I used to eat a lot of candy. My mama would worm us. You know what I mean? And so you're going to need that. And you got your, is it euthanasia? Am I saying that right? The coneflower euthanasia, that's another antibiotic. You got sulfur. That's a good antibiotic to purify, clean your blood, clean your kidneys and your bladder out. Matter of fact, we got a lot of sulfur springs down south. We got sulfur springs in Alabama, sulfur springs in Georgia. I said I was going to visit me a sulfur spring. Asians be killing the sulfur, honey. They come out there with them big old blue bottles and just fill it up. And if you think about it, you never see the Asians in doctors' offices or hospitals because they rely on their ancient medicines and their chi medicines and their just their Chinese herbal medicines is what they do, and it keeps them well. That's why I'm gonna start doing more research on Chinese ancient medicine. Ooh, you going way back. Ancient Soul said yarrow, yeah, yarrow root, yep. Uh, which makes me think of that other one. It's that it's another one. It tastes really, really nasty. It's yellow. What's that root called? Not burdock root. Maybe that is yarrow root. And not willow bark good, ancient soul. So we got an herbalist in here. Your willow bark is good for pain. It's a natural aspirin. You definitely want to get that. You got your oregano. Thank you, ancient soul, for your they get rid of viruses and stuff like that. Okay. Sydney said I got shalamine tea and rose. I got fiber as well. You gotta have a lot of it. It's good to have a box on board, but what you gonna do when the stores are closed? Are you able to plant those shalamine calamine? Are you able to plant these seeds and keep growing it and growing and growing it and growing? Okay, chickweed, ancient soul said chickweed and bitter melon. Okay, so you talking about some ones now that chickweed grows very abundantly outside. I mean, it's just like here I am. I don't care what the weather like. Here I am. Now the bitter melon, I'm not familiar with it. Okay, sarsaparilla. It's good for metals in the body and everything. We got a lot of metals in our body, and metals damage our immune system. So they up there with the radiation. So yeah, we definitely need that too. Matter of fact, we need to start on some of that tomorrow and getting that, especially if you living around these transmission lines and stuff like that. Okay, Sydney says, I got plenty of cheese. Okay, I read that one time. Yeah, ancient soul said wormwood. Wormwood is real good for the sea, if you know what I mean. Uh-huh. So you want that right there because sometimes you got some of that lingering around in your lymphatic system. I was blessed. Spirits told me, Seth, and I had quite a few around here, but they were cutting them down. And I had one last year, and it didn't put no fruit on it. The pokeweed plant. My spirit said you need some pokeweed, and I said, "Do y'all know what pokeweed is?" Press one if you know what a pokeweed plant is. Pokeberry. Press one if you know what poke. Yes, ancient soul. I agree. I just got a huge bag of cloves. People just don't know how beautiful cloves are. Not only do they smell good, but they're good medicines. Clove kills the eggs. Like you can go and do a detox and clean your body out of parasites. But they said what parasites do when you start cleaning up, they start laying all their eggs. They die, but they'll lay their eggs real quick so that they can survive. But that clove come in there after you done did the detox and come and clean up all the eggs too. They can't survive that. Sydney says, so cloves is good for parasites to get rid of. Exactly. Clove tea is real good. It's something that, it wouldn't hurt us to do clove tea every day. Because, see, we don't realize when we be eating our food, it have eggs in it. Like, if that's why it's good to, like, use when people do vegetables and stuff like that. Like, say, be careful because they said listeria is out, and just about every single thing, listeria is out in the guacamole, fresh guacamole. Listeria is out in the lettuce. The listeria out in the tomatoes. Y'all be real careful. But what they do is they put the baking soda and vinegar in the sink, and then you put your vegetables in there. And they have shown that once you put the vegetables in there, you can see the actual worms coming out. Like, oh, let me get the hell up out of here. Oh, I gotta go. And so we're consuming that. So we have worms in our digestive system uh, sometimes. So, good old clove tea. Wormwood here and there. Now I can't stand the taste of wormwood. Now, ugh, I can't. It's so bitter. But there's an old saying that the Jamaicans say, the Rastafarians say, keep your blood bitter. But, you know, not sweet. You're supposed to always keep bitterness in your system, because just like you don't like the taste of it, the parasites, they don't like the taste of it either. Raquel said, we're going to have to take a course on herbal medicine and herbal tea. Yes, and we're going to have to, it'll be a study. Because I know I'm not no expert of it. So it would definitely be a study, me coming together with you all and people who know about herbalism. So I'm gonna do some filming in the temple. Something very basic. We're gonna start back with the basics and stuff like that. In the temple. If y'all want to do it, go press one. If y'all want to go along with me, like I tell y'all ahead of time, what get, or you just want to be surprised. I think surprising is the best way. Because we'll do a little bit of canning first, but I think that we need to learn how to dehydrate. We need to learn how to slice those carrots up, put them in the dehydrator, slice them potatoes up, put them in the dehydrator. You get one, slice them celeries up. Now we're making a soup. We're building a soup. You can also dehydrate chicken. By the time you do all of that, you got dehydrated your peas, dehydrated your carrots, dehydrated your potatoes, dehydrated your chicken. Drop you a bouillon in that jar. Put all of that in the jar once it dries with a bouillon. And then so much, sprinkle you a little tab of salt, or you can put it in plastic, put your salt down in that jar. Or whatever other things you want to put in your soup. I don't know. You know a good soup recipe. And from there, guess what? You see the job, you got a soup. Now, they be good for like a Christmas gift. You got some people that might want to go ahead and eat your soup recipe. They got a lot of them online. Dehydrated soups in jars, you know. You might want to give them away as Christmas gifts or what have you, or you just want to, have them for decorations. Decorate your, how you got a lot of space in your kitchen or what have you. You might want to decorate like that. But yeah. Oh, which is an ancient soul said when Dr. Sebi was in Los Angeles, I was always there. Raquel said, how to become an herbalist. You can really teach yourself because Pinterest is the go-to. Those people on Pinterest have all. I used to love Pinterest when it was about the individual. Now, Pinterest is getting to be so advertising, like you go on there and stuff like that. They send you to a website where somebody's actually selling books on herbalism or what have you. But you might just want to see an individual's recipe, But they getting to the point where all of the retail and the marketing is taking over, what the individuals would put up there as far as a recipe. Uh-huh. I'm in the chat. Exactly. Gail said it's gotten to it done got so commercial, and it got too commercial like everything else it has. Everything is so commercialized. I mean, like, we're just being bombarded with ads from, you know what I mean, from one place to the next. It's like, wow, you know what I mean. You can't even watch a video with just out of all these ads popping up. And I guess y'all said, Mama, you are guilty of it too. But I'm like, I didn't set for no, when you monetize, they just go ahead on and put a bunch of ads on it. And I noticed something about YouTube. Like, if I click enable ads, then I don't get no views for my videos. But okay, this is what I meant to say. If I click ads, click, you know what I'm trying to say. But anyways, if I click on it to enable monetization, then I ain't gonna get no views. But if I don't click monetization, you know what I'm saying, I get a lot of views. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm getting lost in the sauce a little bit there. Sydney said, I'm sorry, the bottle says parasites cleanse and detox is in red and has green on the bottle. What we talking about, Sydney? Hey, Cosmic Stylist, how you doing? Good to see you too. I just said I need to tell y'all, honey, about this UFO hype. Don't get me wrong. I do believe in UFOs. I believe in motherships. I believe in UAPs. I believe they really do exist. You know what I mean? I do believe in multi-dimensional beings that can slip into one. Man, really got that TV up so loud, y'all. I can't even get my train of thoughts. One dimension to the next dimension. They can slide in, slide out. I do believe in all of that stuff like that. But just to tell me that some African Americans is coming here on a spaceship, I think it's a setup, y'all. I call it the alien setup. They finna set that shit up so all these people who are walking around like me, we gonna be, instead of us being deported to other countries and saying, oh, you look like you from this country, we're gonna deport you. It's gonna be, we're gonna put all of the aliens in detention camps. People like me that look like me will be the ones that they're gonna put put behind bars, y'all. That's what they plan on too. Uh-huh. Y'all got any questions before I go? Woo! Press one if it was hot in your neck of the woods. You're welcome, Raquel. Was it hot in y'all there? Okay, Raquel said, well, hot over there where she was. Good gracious, it was so hot. And they said, okay, they cooled it down and everything, whatever, but it's like a heat I cannot describe. It's like the thermostat can't register whatever that is. I don't know what that is. It's not like an ordinary heat. They need a name for that kind of heat. Shit, thermal heat. That's what I'm going to name it. It just wraps around you and hug you. It's like, are we going to make it out of this shit? I tell everybody I can deal with the cold better than I can this heat, and I can't deal with that. I can't sleep when it's hot. People say, I can't sleep at night. You can't sleep at night because you're dealing with thermal heat. Who can sleep when it's hot? Air conditioner don't seem like, it seems like in order to get comfortable, you have to have your air conditioner on, like making it feel like it's 40 and 50 degrees outside. That's the only way you can get comfortable. Y'all probably said, Mama, you dealing with a hot flash. No, that ain't what it is. This thing is continuous. Like even now, you know. I could really cut the air off, but the fan is blowing real, 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 real good and stuff like that. But still, You just can't get comfortable. Anybody having an express one if you're having some sleepless nights? Press one. I guess we all having some sleepless nights. It's around here 1:14 in the morning. We still up. Yeah, Raquel says she having some sleep calls and stuff. Y'all, something happened, y'all. Something happened. And it gonna happen that fucking night. And our spirits and ancestors are not gonna let us go to sleep. Hello? They ain't finna let us go to sleep, y'all. Woo! Press two if you got a backyard where you could put a tent up and try to learn how to live in a tent. Press two. Because that's another thing I was going to do at the temple. I want to get some real good lighting. And I wanted to set a tent up in the back. And I wanted you all to come back there and look and see me in the tent. I want to show y'all how to put the tent up, which it would be new to me now. How to put the tent up, how to go into the tent. Now I can do it in my own backyard. I might just do it in my own backyard. I probably won't do it at the temple. I'll probably just do it back here, and show you all how to put it. We'll talk about what kind of tent we're gonna get, and when y'all get y'all tents, we're gonna set the tents up. Okay, so we cosmic stylists and ancient. So good. We got two people who can participate in it, you know. And if y'all like to, we can do like we can stream yard. If you like to, you can show your area where you at on your tent. I'll show my area or what have you. So we can do this because I think we need to. Okay, that must have been a hot flash because it hugged me for a good little bit of time because I'm cooling off now. That one right there took me straight to the pits of hell, baby, and back. Did you hear me? Yeah. Woo! That one was hot. That was that shit. I thought I was gonna have to jump in a bag of ice with that one. And that's not like me to be having no hot flash, but lately I've been like, I guess off and on. Shit, I think everybody having goddamn hot flashes, the dogs, cats, and everything with this heat. Tell me what some solar pendant is. Tell me about that. We gotta learn from you, ancient, because you know a bit about everything. What solar pendants? I want to learn what that is. What y'all suggest I get? Huh? What y'all suggest? Because I want to get the little grill and everything. I want to do a whole outdoor experience in my backyard. I could take y'all back there to the Jackson Lake back there. I think it costs $10. And like right now, people got tents set up over there at Jackson Lake just out there. They just out there. I did a picnic out there for y'all one time, but my reception wasn't good, so it was kind of grainy and people couldn't see and everything. Oh, that'll be fun, y'all. I think I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do an outdoor tent thing. We'll get some sandwich meat and everything, and go back there and stuff. And I'll get the little grill. We'll find the best. I'll go to Academy. We'll find the best tent. Reasonable. We're not going overboard. Just something that is, because I do believe that when the shit hit the fan, we all need to have us a little wagon and have a little tent to put in that wagon. You could drag that thing around. Right now, TikTok got those little wagons. I think they're going for $77, and they even got a hood over. So if it rains, your stuff will still be dry, and you could pull your wagon behind you. Or if you're gonna be riding a bike, put that son of a gun, or strap it on the back of your bike. I don't know. I don't know. Do something. Get your chair, them folding chairs. Get you a folding chair. Get you a tent. Sit it in your wagon. Sit your ice chest in your wagon. Everything you possibly can that can fit in that wagon. Get yourself prepared to do something. Get your what you call it? Your Bluetooth. You want to get your Bluetooth, get that too. And they got all kind of chargers and stuff like that. You can get chargers to go in there, whatever to charge up or what have you. So, hell yeah. Raquel said, Ancient Soul, tell us more about the solar pendant. If anybody wants to contribute any kind of help for us, let us know. I remember I had a challenge where I told y'all, I said, I want y'all to learn how to put these big backpacks on your backs with your little things on them and try to at least walk a half a mile every day. Y'all, like, as y'all can see, I let that go because I done gained by 30 pounds. But I'm on my way to getting it back off again. You know. My body won't let me get too big because when I get too big, all of a sudden, I like right now, I'm dealing with this sinus issue. Something always pops up when there's some pop up like that, and all of a sudden, I start losing my weight. You know what I mean? Because I'm trying to keep some of this on just in case something happens for a family. I have some on me, but I'm like, oh, okay, it's gonna have to come off. Darn. Sydney says the Parasite brand is called Vita Strength, not Vita Fusion. Sorry about that. I did it in case, and I felt really good after taking it. You take one in the morning and one at night. I know it cleansed good. Well, I need one for my nose. Ever since y'all, my floater had tear my flow out. But I told y'all about what happened to that. A crackhead messed me up. I ain't finna go deep into that or what have you, but gallons of water was just spilling on my floor for a year and a half, and the result was a rotten floor, you know. And when they opened that up to the basement, all of those sediments were coming up from the basement, and now by me already having issues with sinus, I do believe I have a sinus problem at this point, needing requiring antibiotics. Because you can hear this. My nose is just plugged. Both nostrils are plugged up. So yeah, that's why I said I want y'all to. Thank you, Tay. Our moderator says show appreciation by donation to Mother Wisdom Trees Cash App $ Vanita Love PayPal Spirit3421 at yahoo.com. Thank you so much. But that's what we want to do. We want to have all our antibiotics on board. You know, just leave them. Just leave them sitting there in case. I just see a lot of craziness happening, and I'm not trying to scare anybody. I'm just making people aware, like blood banks going dry, and you know what I mean. Hospitals and stuff saying, "Hey, we don't have electricity. We have generators. Where our generators are not getting charged up. We're not getting gas. We're not. You see what I mean? For our generators, just it's gonna be hellish fire. But like I said, you all can turn all of that around. You all can rewrite this narrative. But the fact that it's like a fall in power, stuff like this always happen when there's a fall in power. We have to deal with this. This is part of what we call on the last video the tribulation. $ Vanita Love. Raquel said. Okay, Angel Soul said you put the box in the sun and they are on Amazon for $30. Oh, this is the charging box. Okay. Okay. Anybody want to add anything else to this before I get up and go? Trump said he want his golden city up. No, not his golden city, but his golden dome. He said he want that up in the next 3 years. So guess what? That means he's finna get ready to do some drastic cutting down the population. You know, I can't say things straight out. And I know y'all saying, why is she talking like that? You can't say things straight out like that. That's why I have to say it weird and stuff. And I be thinking, y'all be like, why is she talking so slow? I have to think about what I'm going to say before I say the wrong thing. Because if I say the wrong thing, then that can just ruin it just like that. And then, bam, we gone. You know, they take the video down. Oh, you know what? I got one of those too, Angel Soul. I'm glad you told me about that. Angel Soul said they have infrared light for sinuses. I actually got one in there. Somebody was telling me that they good for your skin too. Like if you got like any kind of skin issues and stuff like rashes or what have you, you could put that on your skin. But I have one right now in my bedroom back there. I might need to go back there and get that. Y'all gonna see me in one of them tanning salons. I had went in me and this lady, we had went in a tanning salon and everything cause I don't know, we just wanted to go in there. And y'all know mama don't need no tan, nothing like that. But the lady was real kind to me. And she was telling me, she says a lot of stuff you can benefit from. She said you can still come in here. And she showed me where she got an infrared. They don't introduce infrared light booths where you could sit in there, and they said infrared like ancient soul said is good for getting rid of parasites and stuff like that, and getting rid of skin parasites and internal parasites is good for your immune system, help you to generate D and everything. So I said, I'm gonna go back over there, honey, give them some money and stay in there. And in there, and then she said some kind of special shower they got in there too afterwards. I think that's what she said. But it's a booth, you just stand up in there and they put nothing but infrared light on you. Thank you. That's what I'm gonna do, ain't you? So I'm gonna go over there and stand up in there in that booth. So I can get rid of this, release my sinuses from this chokehold they got on my nose. Uh-huh. Raquel said, that's interesting. Nobody got no questions? Remember that night we supposed to came together and we supposed to did a whole full reading on the U.S. government. We didn't do it. Y'all done got scared of my readings and stuff. Remember I used to go in there and do readings for y'all? But when I go in there to do readings for y'all, don't nobody want no reading done. Still don't nobody want a reading done. So I got to get ready. I got to show y'all some things. I got a doll that I've gotten ready, and some jewelry, necklaces, and everything that I've gotten ready that I want y'all to get a chance to see. Okay, so I guess that'll be it, and that'll be all. Y'all have a wonderful rest of your night, and until next time, I'll see you. Night.